We are live. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. What a day! It's been crazy. Lots of stuff happening in the markets today. I am excited for us to dive into what's happening. Right? Let's see what's going on. Exciting day for those of us who are ready for this. So, yeah, we are back with another FOMO Friday. Anything that we discuss here today is not financial advice. We are just a bunch of line drawers, historical data gurus, right? And yeah, just looking at the charts to see what's coming up next. Most of the stuff that we um, cover nowadays is really what we've been kind of talking about for quite some time. So we were ready for the move today. Big congratulations to everybody who is holding their short positions still. So big day for us, right? It's been exciting. We've been very patient, and the patience is finally paying off. We'll have a couple of alpha later today as well, but we'll go ahead and get started. Bits, what a day! How are you doing today?
What a crazy day. What a crazy day. No, I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
Look, just enjoying spaces this week is really kind of what I've been spending time doing and just listening to conversations. Um, I feel like when the markets look like this, um, it forces people to have the tough conversations sometimes. So, but
Oh
it's
yeah.
it's been good. No, and then look, still watching these markets. Altcoins had been giving quite a bit of action the last few weeks and months, and some of that is like massively being taken back right now on the altcoins that were pumping. So I'm glad we were being very aggressive with taking profits and just playing all of that day by day because it's wild. I think people, we all do, right? We get comfortable and we forget how quickly the environment can change. But yeah,
Yes.
no, this is beautiful. This is what we've been talking about this move coming for a long time. We got the move up to 80 that I was waiting for, and now now we're heading lower. So I think it's looking pretty nice.
Yes, absolutely. It's also funny. I remember all of the audio snippets that you were playing all this time about a
Mhm.
certain individual who told us that it's crazy for us to think that we are going anywhere near 60K,
I know.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, I think if there's one thing we've learned is that the market will humble you when you get too arrogant, too confident
yes.
in something. So
Yeah.
you got to follow the data. You got to put your convictions aside sometimes. It's okay to have them. It's okay to have
Hmm.
convictions, but you gotta
Yes.
you got to be humble enough to just say, hey, I could be completely wrong about this, and the market could do something else.
Yeah. I mean, that's always a good thing to do, right? Um, Well, yeah, it was upsetting to see a lot of people dismissing historical data and hey, it's not going to work out this time for whatever reason,
I
without
know.
anything else but pure emotions. So, and here we are. BTC hit under 50K, under 60K today. So in 50s, and hopefully we will see it go down lower a little bit as well. So yeah, Nat,
Mm.
how are you feeling about the markets? I know you've been kind of looking at the liquidity levels and everything, and it seems like it's kind of slicing through all of those levels for you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I made a post about this not too long ago. So in real estate, right, it's all about location, location, location. In Bitcoin, it's all about liquidity, liquidity, liquidity. We're seeing the price gravitate to these liquidity levels that we've been looking at for a really long time on both the perp side, but as well as the spot side. The liquidity that's been on the spot side for some time at 65K got taken out. The liquidity that's been at 64K got taken out. Liquidity at 62K taken out. It's just been slicing through these levels, including the liquidity that's been at that 60K pocket that we touched on this very stream not too long
Hmm.
ago. Even that was taken out. So I have a little update on the liquidity levels and what's been happening, but exciting time nonetheless.
Absolutely. Yeah, those liquidity levels are incredible to keep an eye on for sure. Bix, you want to go ahead and bring up your charts? I
Let me
also want
pull
to bring
this
up mine.
up. Share
I'd love to
screen.
see what you're looking at.
Yeah. Where's my trading view? Here's trading view.
What a
Come on.
sight.
Come on. Why is it not working? Here we go. Boom.
There.
Okay. All right. It's up. So yeah, I mean this is where we are. And man, just look at the violence with these last this last week of price action has just been absolutely brutal. Absolutely brutal. Yeah, I think it's interesting that we forget that we can't have moves that are this aggressive. But look, zooming out on Bitcoin I'm on the weekly chart here. Zooming out a little bit. Um, this is at this point. I mean, it's undeniable that these are
Mm-hmm.
just lower highs. I know there was a lot of people that were still saying up here near 80K that this isn't a bear market. But look, this is a very simple way, and this is not my opinion. It's not about being right or wrong. It's about just calling it for what it is. In a bull market, you're doing this. You're going higher. In a
Mm-hmm.
bear market, you do the opposite. You're going lower, right? Like in a bear market, you do that. It's just it is what it is. You're making lower lows, lower highs, right? Like this is what we're doing. So at some point, I do suspect this is probably gonna do something like that. Like this is the next big area that I'm watching down here near about 40. I'd say 48 to 52. Like if we're keeping it kind of wide, that's kind of where I'm looking. But look, let's go to let's zoom out a little bit. Let's actually start with a 12-month because I know Lady Trader, you're probably going to talk about it. But I saw Tony
Mm-hmm.
actually. Tony the Bull was posting about it today. That this look, a lot of people are starting to talk about it now. I think we were some of the first
Mm-hmm.
people to talk about it on here, actually, huh, Lady Trader? You brought it
Yep.
up, and then you and I looked at it. That 12-month close is just that's an ugly close. This is an ugly close. It's not a good looking candle for BTC, and we're getting the result of that now with this downside pressure. So for me, I think like a really easy way is if you're looking at Bitcoin, go to the yearly chart and then find the bottom of this candle here. This first one, which was the impulsive move up. This was basically expansion, um, correction, if you will, right? Or it could be distribution in this case. And then we're getting
Mm-hmm.
expansion again. So I would just say like, look, a really easy exercise you can do is go find this 12-month chart, put a zone down here at the bottom of this candle here, and just be aware of this zone here. And this zone is going to be about 38 to 42K. That is a zone that we need to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And then let's zoom out from here, right? Let's go to like a 6-month chart. On a 6-month chart, if I'm zooming out, the bottom of this wick here is interesting to me, as well as the top of this 6-month reversal, this 6-month close up here. So look, here's another exercise you can do is just maybe just put a box around right there as well, which kind of represents here, let me try and clean this up here. Bam. Represents these closes from back in 2021, as well
Mm-hmm.
as this wick down that we had back here last year, or this was 2 years ago now. So this is like another area that I'd be watching, which is this is that 45 to 47 or so area.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but ultimately, I mean, you can see there's a lot of room to the downside. There really is a lot of room to the downside for BTC. Um, in my opinion, we're coming for that 48K. Maybe it bounces first around like 52 or so, 52, 54. But ultimately, I think we're coming for that. And then we'll see if we breach that. If we break this low from August of not last year, of 2 years ago, of 2024, then I am looking down here at that this zone that's down here between 38 and 42, which was this is the one that we grabbed off of the 12-month, right? So if you go back to that 12-month chart, you can see this is the bottom of that of basically 2024's yearly candle is essentially what I'm
Mm-hmm.
highlighting here. So look, those are some big zones to watch. They're far away. We're not there yet. It's going to take a bit to probably get us there, but I think it's important to have those on your Bitcoin chart and just be aware of them. As for short term, look, I mean, this to me does not look like a candle that's gonna reverse and head higher. I don't see this turning into that. I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So in my opinion, this still has probably some downside. Can this in the short term, like if we zoom in, I'm trying to find a good view. Maybe yeah, maybe on the daily is a good view to look at it. Can it do something like this and then go lower? Sure. Could it even maybe come up here, close to 68, somewhere up here? Could it even come up here close to 72 and still roll over? Sure. But it doesn't change the fact that we're now getting just you're continuing to get multiple confirmations that this is downtrending structure, that there's more impulsivity is probably the correct word. There's more impulsivity, more energy to the downside than there
Mhm.
is to the upside. I mean, look, the violence to the downside is this is actually the exact opposite of what you see during a bull market. During a bull market, the impulse moves, the fast moves
Mhm.
are to the upside. Fast, you cover a lot of distance quickly in a short amount of time, and then you
Mhm.
slowly correct. You cover a lot of distance quickly, and then you slowly correct. Right in a bull market, you get that. In a bear market, it's the opposite. So we just have to be very cautious. I'm not one to be trying to jump in front of this to catch that falling knife to try and call the bottom, even if there is a bottom here. Th-
Mhm.
this this to me is just like reckless to try and get in front of that. It's reckless. I would just wait. Is there a chance that maybe it trends up? Sure, but I think if it is going to trend up, I think what you're going to see is on the lower time frames, it may need to consolidate here for a little while and then try and go higher. Are there some trades to be had here? Yeah, I think there's a lot of money that's going to be made even in these small ranges. Like there's going to be the range traders that are going to try and trade it from 61 to maybe 64 or something like that, or even up here to one of these levels
Mhm.
here in the middle. And it's like, sure, you can take those trades all day long. Fantastic. Just don't forget to zoom out and recognize that you're trading in the middle of these violent candles. Like you're somewhere in here in a little speck of this violence that's happening when you start zooming out. So just be aware of that. And then lastly, I just want to cover quickly because you guys know I like to do my pair charts, but Bitcoin over equities is still bleeding out, and we just took out the 2024 low. So Bitcoin, when denominated in the equities combo that I like to make, SPX plus NDX, this is still heading lower, meaning Bitcoin is also bleeding out against equities. Even if equities are coming down, because they are coming down today,
Mhm.
Bitcoin is coming down more and faster than those are, right? So this is still telling us that Bitcoin is weaker than equity markets. Bitcoin is weaker than commodities at the moment as well, because we are
Mhm.
heading towards a 2024 low with Bitcoin and commodities. So that's coming
Mhm.
up here. This is still looking very weak. And then Bitcoin against gold, Bitcoin against silver, same thing. I still think those potentially continue to head lower. I do still think they have some downside. This is still rolling over. So we've got some
Mhm.
key levels coming up. Look, I'll end with that. I want to get Nat in here. I know Nat has to leave before I do, so I want to give her enough time to cover whatever she needs to cover. And then if there's time to come back to me later on, I'm happy to add either extra comments or just answer questions.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. But it's great takes there. Nat, you want to bring up your charts, my friend?
Yes, absolutely. And it's not that different from bid stake. I think we're both looking at similar stuff here. Here, let me just we'll do the chart first and then we'll do the liquidity. Do you guys see that?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, my eyes.
Yeah, vampires. Okay, all right, vampires. Okay, put on your sunglasses. Put
Yeah,
on your
please turn it
sunglasses.
off. Oh my God.
All right, so this structure on the weekly, whenever I see this pattern, doesn't matter if it's on the weekly, on the 4 hour, the daily, this pattern here usually signals a rollover or an aggressive move to the downside is incoming. If we want to zoom in and we want to look just at this candle, I think on the weekly, depending on where we close, if we close below this EMA here, it's going to get brutal. It's going to get rough. It's going to get brutal. And there's still more potential. There's still potential for more downside, right? So the weekly
Mhm.
for me has been very, very interesting. It does not look the best. It looks really, really bearish. It looks like something that's about to roll over and give us a nasty, an even nastier red candle to the downside. Even if it does this
Mhm.
big move to the upside, but if it closes here, just be prepared. It's about to go lower. One area of interest for me in the short term, granted my longer term, I think we go below 40K, right? Same as
Mhm.
you, lady trader. But just based on this structure in the interim, I think we do hit about 51,808 and then probably find some kind of support around like 49, 48K, which lines up
Mhm.
to the levels that Bits of Wealth is also looking at, right? But if we zoom out a
Mhm.
little bit more and we go into like the quarterly, it looks horrible. Look at that. We close
Mhm.
if the quarterly close in like 25 days, right? If we close and like this, it's gonna get ugly really, really soon. So this is one thing that I'm keeping my eye on, right? Look at those three massive, massive red candles to the downside, right? It does not look the
Mhm.
best. This does not scream bullish to me at any point. Doesn't even scream reversal in play, right? So I think we're in for some downside. Even if in the short term we do see some like bounces on the 4 hour and the daily, I think overall we're in for some downside pressure. All right, so let's look at the liquidity. I'm going to bring up my liquidity map because this one is very interesting. We actually covered this with you on my first stream that we did together, in which I mentioned that BTC always grabs the liquidity. What it has been doing, and we have seen it time and time again, is that it has been dancing above the liquidity for a little bit before going ahead and taking it. Do you guys see the screen? Okay,
Mhm.
this one's Dark Vampire, so I
Let me
think this
see.
one.
Yeah, I can see it now.
All right, vampires, you can take your sunglasses off. The screen is black. Okay, it's dark as hell, so I think you should be good. Uh, but you see how you see how it's slicing through the liquidity levels, right? We bounced off 61K, but we've been grabbing them since that 65, right? And these are orders.
Mhm.
This is on the spot side. So you see, we grabbed the 65K. We continue to grab it. We bounce off this level here, but here is the thing, whenever we see, and I mentioned this on the first stream that we did together, the yellow lines usually tends to work as a magnet, right? So we saw how we came here. These are my next level of interest right here when it comes to the liquidity. There's liquidity of
Mhm.
58K. There's even orders stacking up here at 55K. It's about 17 million. Oh, it's increasing. When I saw it this morning, it was 17 flat. It's 18 million now, almost 18 million now. And it's
Mhm.
slightly building below all the way down to like 52K, right? There's
Mhm.
11 million there. But what's very interesting, if we were to switch this over to just to the perp side, it matches, right? I like to adjust these level here so I can just get a better view of the liquidity areas. But there's interest in lower prices, right?
Mhm.
There's buildup now all the way down below, all the way here, which lines up to what we're seeing on spot, right? So we're looking at 32 million here, a 44 million, 35 million, 49 million at 59K. So there's interest and there's slight buildup all the way down below. However, the top side does line up with what Bits is saying as well, right? Because there is interest in a little bit, not something as crazy, but there's 32 million sitting at 69,000. Can we go up and swoop those before the next leg down? I can absolutely see that happening, but there's more interest in these prices here. The liquidity is still building, so I can see a scenario in which these get high. These continue to build as the price trades sideways or goes up a little bit. But overall, as we've seen time and time again, when the liquidity is building, it gets to a point in which it works as a magnet and kind of pulls everything down with it. So this is an area that I'm keeping my eye on, and it lines up with what Bits was saying. It lines up with the spot liquidity, and it lines up with the overall cycle and where we are currently in the cycle phase, right? So I think overall is very interesting. I think we all seeing the same thing. There's more interest in lower prices, and I continue to say this time and time again, right? Because we're continuing to see this. Whether
Mhm.
we want to believe it in it or not, the facts remain the same. There's interest in lower prices on both the perp side and on the spot side. One other thing I wanted to mention as well is the it's silver. I don't know if you guys, I'll bring up the chart in a second. Let me just stop sharing this screen. I've been saying silver to 50, so has been bits, and in a few other analysts as well. When the silver, when everyone was like really bullish on silver, we were very
Mm-hmm.
cautious because of what we were seeing in the charts. So let me bring
Mm-hmm.
up silver, and I just want to touch on this real quick.
There you go.
Mm, Yeah, one second. My screen froze, guys. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no worries. Take your time.
All right. So on the quarterly, this is one thing I look at. Silver being overbought on the quarterly, it really signals to me more downside. This is, but if we bring up, hold on, let me just bring up. Yeah. Okay, so this means more downside on the quarterly. This says to
Mm-hmm.
me that we're gonna go lower before we go higher. Even if we're looking at the 4 hour and things are a little bit different on the 4 hour,
Mm-hmm.
it signals to me that we can go up a little bit, but overall we're looking at 40s, we're looking at 50s if there is no bounce, right? So I think that's a very interesting level, something that we need to keep in mind when it comes to just silver in particular, and just watching the overall narrative as to what's
Mm-hmm.
happening globally. Because if even if we move up a little bit, the RSI is really just saying to me, okay, we are significantly overheated and we all just need to get ready for a move lower to the downside, right? Over time and time again, whenever we see silver this overheated, it's usually followed by some kind of downward pressure. And we're also seeing it on the stock RSI. It's kind of signaling a move to the downside. So we have two confluences now that's kind of telling us, okay, silver it's coming down sooner than we anticipate, or faster than some
Mm-hmm.
of us really do anticipate. So that's really something I'm keeping my eye on when it comes to just silver in particular. So I'm really bearish on silver. I think it comes
Mm-hmm.
down. I think gold comes down with it, and I think depending on the speed and what we see in the silver markets or in the commodity sector in general, I think it can drive the rest of the market a little bit lower. That's really all I wanted to share for today, Lady Trader. I know I have a tight stop, a tight time.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, but that's really all I have for today. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Nat, I do have one question for you before you head out. Do you have any takes on the IPOs that are coming up? I know we have SpaceX coming up pretty soon. It's already, I think, over a trillion dollar in valuation for early buyers, pre-IPO buyers on Robinhood, and then OpenAI at some point this year, and even Databricks. Are you keeping an eye on it? Any takes there?
Yeah, so overall IPOs, I usually have a 6 month rule when it comes to these IPOs, especially since we're
Mm-hmm.
seeing these IPO, they're coming out at extreme valuations, right? And what we're seeing across the board, and Circle is actually a perfect example. When Circle IPO'd, it was really hot in the initial movement, right? And kudos to everyone that got in. But what happened afterwards is that we saw it come down to its fair value. And I think that's going to be the same thing across the board with different IPOs, especially the SpaceX, right? Th- Even if in the long term it becomes like a multi-trillion company and hits like 10 trillion, I think in the interim, after the lockup period, I think the
Mm-hmm.
chances of SpaceX finding its fair value becomes greater. And oftentimes what we see is that the fair value of a lot of these companies is usually to the downside, much smaller or lighter than the initial IPO, right? And one thing that
Mm-hmm.
we've been talking about for some time when it comes to SpaceX is that because it's so hyped up, we can see it just like taking some of the liquidities in from the market, or people selling their position in getting ready for the SpaceX IPO. And on the equity side, that's something that we're seeing, right? A lot of people are
Mm-hmm.
just getting ready for this SpaceX IPO. I do believe at some point we'll see the rotation back in as SpaceX as the IPO heat kind of cools off and we start seeing some red candles. I think overall we're going to see rotation back. But it's going to be very interesting to see it all play out, being that the IPO, being
Mhm.
that the IPO is so it's so popular, right? And then even with
Yeah.
Fidelity, what a lot of these companies are doing, including Fidelity, is that they're lowering their barrier to entry for this particular IPO, and it's something that
Mhm.
I've never seen, right? So I think this time it's going to be very interesting to see it all play out, and I think the valuation is something that we need to keep in mind, because we've seen other companies IPO at extreme valuations, and what proceeds is usually not the best. But Lady Trader,
Mhm.
I did want to bring up, someone just DM'd me about the silver chart. This is one that I I looked at the silver chart and corrected myself. This is actually the one I wanted to show, because it tells a story for the RSI. If we could just go back and zoom out, whenever we see the RSI this overextended, is usually followed by a sharp turn. Not right away, but we
Mhm.
go all the way down, right? Same thing happened in '06 to '08. We see that the IPO was very, very overextended, and what happened is that it correct all the way down. Similar thing in 2011, we saw silver all the way up, the RSI all the way overbought, and what happened? We corrected all the way down, right? So this
Mhm.
I have no reason to believe that this time is going to be very different, right? So we're seeing it overextended, overbought, and if the same pattern were to repeat itself, even from the very beginning, same pattern were to repeat itself, we're going to see a nasty move to the downside, in particular 40, 50, as we all been talking about and looking at for some time. I mean, overall, the markets for me are in a very interesting area. We have the equity side that's in melt up mood, was in melt up mood. We saw the pullback. People are taking profit. People are positioning themselves for the IPO. We have Bitcoin that's showing weakness across the board, right? We have oil that's coming down as well. We have commodities that's coming down. So it's a very, very interesting time to be in the markets for sure. And this is why I always say you want to be hedged or aggressively take profit, because nobody ever went broke taking profits.
Absolutely love that take, Ned. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Nat,
I'll
I
go
want
ahead.
to
Oh, go ahead.
yeah, can I, is it okay, Lady Trader, if I
Yeah, yeah,
quickly
yeah, yeah.
share a silver take since
Yes,
Nat pulled
please
it up?
do.
All right, let me
Yes.
rotate over here to silver really quickly. Hold on here before Nat leaves, because yeah, see, Nat, I love Nat's takes. I love that she sees we have different methods, but she sees all the same stuff that I typically tend to see. So
Mhm.
silver, look, North Star's been talking about this, guys, right? He's been talking about that it was like a macro cup and handle, right? And
Mhm.
him and his partner have also been talking about um, that you need a retest on the break of this cup and handle. So if you want to think of it just very very simply, it's like, this is kind of like your range high that you're coming down to roughly around here for a pullback, right? Very simply, right?
Mhm.
You had the breakout cup and handle, like this at some point could come back, and then that continues, right?
Mhm.
While respecting like this kind of higher low structure here. So for everyone watching silver, to me, like I've looked at this 3 month chart quite a bit. That this is telling, just like we saw that a similar pattern on the Bitcoin 12 month. You kind of have a similar thing here on silver. So there's a lot of people that aped into silver up here. I think those people are going to get they're not going to be happy. But look, now I don't know if you had spotted this. I know you're about to head out, but I don't know if you had spotted. There's also this beautiful channel that you can do actually by connecting that top with this one here,
Oh,
and then just
wow.
aligning the lows here, beautiful lows. And then if
Mhm.
you add a fib retracement, it also all these fib lines align with these fib channels. Look at this, like the 382 is right here at the midline. The point
Mhm.
0.5 to the golden pocket is down here
Beautiful.
in this zone. So yeah, I'd be paying attention to all of that. I think there's a pretty good chance, like Nat said, I've been saying sub 50. I'm in agreement with her, and I do agree that even down into the 20s would not be unrealistic. I think you absolutely could get a scenario that it over time comes down here sub 30, close to 30, maybe even into the 20s. And then ultimately
Mhm.
everything's perfectly healthy, because as long as you're above, 11, $12 down here, you could still be setting another macro high. So, and look, a little bit of called it. I did this was the only time I've posted about silver
Beautiful.
having a top, and that was back here. So Take that
That's
for
Love it.
That's beautiful. And I think it's in line with silver's trajectory, and it's in line with silver's behavior, right? From the
yeah,
very inception, as we showed
yeah,
with the RSI, right? Whenever we see silver make these aggressive moves to the upside, it's usually followed by some kind
yeah,
of insane pullback. And the way you just showed it is also very, very beautiful. I'm excited to see how this all of this plays out, right? We have
yeah,
oil, we
Mhm.
have silver, we have gold, we have BTC.
yeah.
Interesting times nonetheless.
Interesting times. Super
Very
interesting
interesting
times.
times, guys. Very interesting times.
Well,
Love it.
back
Thank you.
back to
And
you,
Nat,
Lady
thanks.
Trader. Back to you.
Oh, thank you. Absolutely. No, those were great, and Nat, great takes on the IPO as well. I have very similar philosophy that you have, and my philosophy is that IPO is usually the exit for
Yeah.
early investors, right? Seed investors and
Just like in crypto.
strategic investors.
Just like
Oh,
in crypto,
Exactly.
right?
absolutely.
Yeah, literally, the IPO is
100%.
the
Right.
worst time to buy anything, guys. Like,
Yeah.
don't do it. Like that, the Circle IPO,
Yeah.
I lucked out on because I saw the interest was like really high. I was like, you know what, I'll get some IPO shares. I got IPO shares at $38. Was able to get out at like 200, which was awesome. But I stepped back in on that Circle trade I talked about, which I can't share my chart at the moment, but I did since close that trade because we did break below that level
Hmm.
there. But yeah, Circle is just one of those IPOs where it's like it's just the same old story. You know, same thing with ICOs. It's just like everything just rips initially, and then it just falls right down, dude. Cerebus, SpaceX, will all be the same.
Hmm. No,
Yeah,
absolutely.
is that rule of thumb that lands up with the lockup period, right? So I think we really do have to be
Hmm.
careful because those that buy in late are usually the ones that end up holding the bag. And in equity side, it's not that different from crypto, right? If you buy late, you
Hmm.
end up holding the bag. You have to wait a few quarters in order to possibly redeem yourself, right? So be careful.
Yep. Absolutely. Love that take. Thank you so much, Nat. So I'm going to dive into BTC a little bit since we are going to be talking about the bottom coming up pretty soon in October, right? Again, if people are going to tell you, oh, you can't time the bottom or, just start buying already. Just be cautious about all of those people. They don't know what they're talking about. Just follow what the data is telling you so far, right? Historical data. Not financial advice, but that's what I'm doing personally. Be cautious of everybody who is going to invite you to ape in early. Has it's just this is not how the markets work. We have 10 plus years of uh, unbeatable data, right? That is worked consistently, so be mindful of that. I am watching a few levels here coming up, right? So the next level that I'm watching is this 48K. We have, I know Nat also talked about it a little bit, Bits has talked about it previously as well. This level is going to be very crucial. We have a yearly fib, so I do expect a little bit of a bounce here. I don't know how big it's going to be, but again, this could be like a short term bottom, right? Just to get everybody excited. This was it, guys. We're not going to go lower again. And then, of course, that's not going to be the case. Timing over price. This is another thing I want to emphasize on because I hate given price targets, right? This is really the first time in the history of multiple cycles that I've actually talked about the actual price. Usually I just tell people, hey, just the timing because your price targets are going to be like beaten pretty badly. And if you're patient, you're going to get really good entry. So don't worry about price too much. Go with timing. Timing is always going to be pretty awesome. According to that historical data timing, we are looking at potentially October or November for the bottom to be in place. Maybe September, right? Maybe the last couple of days of September, something like that. But I'm going to be looking at what happens in October. I'm not in a hurry. So we'll see what happens October of this year. But what I'll be watching for is this trend line as well, if we get there, because we had multiple months that this trend line has been tested. We are almost like in a channel, so or not really a channel, but I can't even remember what this pattern is called. But there's a name for this. So it's kind of like this pattern where you have the price within these two areas, right? So you have this trend line here, and then you have the trend line here. And so I'm keeping an eye on this one. So we'll see where we bottom out, right? So potentially we are looking at October, and Bits and I have talked about it previously as well. We've talked about this level in the past, super early on, actually, right? And so I would say probably early this year. And so we were looking at this trend line, and it seems like it's going to be coming up pretty soon here. So potentially this area, right? So looking at October, maybe around 33K or something like that. So this is an area of interest for me. Again, no guarantees that price is going to get there, no guarantee that it's going to stop here. It could go lower or it could, be close to it and maybe not hit it. But I'm watching this area with great interest. If the timing aligns and the price is there, it could be a trade of a lifetime. So we'll be watching for this one. That's my area that I'm watching. But yeah, short term, I think everybody, like Bits said this, Nat has the same take that this is not going to find a support here. And I'm saying the same thing. I don't think it's going to find support here. We have some major areas coming up. Remember that trend line I was talking about? It's also coinciding with this 800 EMA on weekly. So it will be a retest, or it will be a test of that. So that would be very, very interesting to watch. But yeah, we are done here, guys. Like this is going to be going under 60K very quickly and then under 50K. And it's going to be interesting to see voices on CT, see what they are talking about, right? Because people are going to change their sentiment and their analysis and all of that. So, but we've been very consistent with this. You can go back and watch all of our live streams from the past. You'll see nothing but consistency. We are sticking to that consistency until the end of the year, and then of course it's going to be bullish consistency going forward after that. So really exciting times to see the charts working out exactly how we planned.
Lady Trader,
Bitcoin gives.
I was going to, sorry, cut you off there for a second, but
Oh no,
an
it's fine.
interesting thing I actually pointed out today on the Wolf Trading Space. So I've been trading a lot of futures with them, like loving this freaking Nasdaq and equities rip that we've seen, but Bitcoin obviously has been this laggard, right? And
Mm-hmm.
what's been really fascinating is that it seems that crypto is just wanting to fall down with equities today. Like it wants to just like pull back when equities pull back, but has
Mm-hmm.
not rode that same high we've seen in the equities markets, in the futures markets. And what
Mm-hmm.
that tells me is that as we come down, like as we pull back even further on things like the Nasdaq, things like the S&P, it makes sense that Bitcoin would fall to like 40 or 50K if we're following the same trend of like falling when the equities fall, but not rising when they rise with this recent trend.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that 40 or 50K totally makes sense. Just charts aside, like it just kind of following what equities are doing.
Yeah, it's also like I know some people do emphasize on the correlation between S&P 500 and BTC, and they just can't accept that, oh, since S&P 500 was at all-time high, Bitcoin is going to continue higher. And so they could see what's happening right now. I think it's a big lesson, especially for like historical data deniers, right? It's like, oh no, S&P 500 is doing well. There are no fundamentals to back it up, and here we are playing out nicely. One thing I also want to call out is Trix, which is an indicator that a lot of students of Kelvin Ryan use. On weekly, it's very consistent and really beautiful. It's actually about to turn red and cross over red bearish at zero line. And this is a major event. And it shows you it's the early move, right? So it means much, much, much further downside are expected after this crosses over. You can go back and look at what happened previously when it has crossed over bearish. It really causes a bloodbath in line with what Nat was talking about, right? That much lower prices are coming, much lower targets are coming, and so much more pain is coming. So this is in line with that. Thankfully, we were prepared for it. There's absolutely no reason to be upset. There's every reason here to be excited for the prices that are coming up. You should be excited to buy. Solana is absolutely getting crushed today. We have, of course, these levels we've discussed months and months and months ago, and finally we are slicing through. This one we already sliced through, so it's going to be this level next, and then of course some of the levels at the lows that are coming up. Exciting times. I'm excited to buy Solana lower. But yeah, that's really what I have for today for my take. William, I actually was on early this morning with a team that's partially located in EU. So we had an early live stream today. That's a Deepin project. Do you have any Deepin alpha for us before we wrap up today?
Yeah, I know we talked about decentralized compute a bit last week. Those tokens are still holding strong. I would show my chart here. I just messaged in the chat here. Obviously, I am feeding my baby right now. So sorry if you guys can
No,
hear. She's munching on some milk right now. She's like downing it. It's so funny. It's making me hungry now. But but no, it's similar story with the decentralized compute stuff as well as the cloud gaming stuff. I know you mentioned Yam with me in our DMs, and I do think Yam is one of those projects that could benefit from the proliferation of cloud gaming, of AI, et cetera. We're seeing this massive push in the data center still, even with the slight
Mm-hmm.
pullback we've seen. So a lot of alpha there. The most recent, biggest news that came out this week actually was Helium. So I've talked about Helium quite a bit in the past on these shows, but Helium, the company. So there's two separate companies. There's Helium, the network, and there's Helium, the cell phone company, the phone subscriber plan. They
Which
actually
one is
just
the one?
sold.
Which one's the one that's taking away my zero plan or whatever it is?
That's Helium Mobile. So Helium Mobile was just acquired by Andrew Yang, actually. So Andrew Yang was running for those that aren't familiar there. He owns a company called Noble Mobile now. It's a phone plan that's an MVNO of T-Mobile. Similar to what Helium Mobile is, they're pretty much identical in that regard. Noble Mobile has like $50 phone plans, unlimited everything, yada yada yada. But their neat caveat, their neat thing about them is that they do these cash back dividends. So like, if you don't use data, like if you don't use like let's say 5 gigabytes of data or 10 gigs of data, they'll give you cash back against your phone plan. I think up to like $20 off. So you can essentially have a $30 phone plan if you just don't use that much data. They actually just acquired Helium Mobile. I'm not sure if those same rules will apply, but I think this is overall a really good thing for Helium because Helium's been kind of split. The team has been split. The resources, all of their employees, et cetera, the founding members have had their attention split on Helium Mobile and the Helium network. And those two are kind of very separated in that regard in their goals. The Helium network really should just be focused on getting more hotspots out there, getting more carrier offload deals signed, supporting the HNT token, et cetera. While the Helium mobile network was more the phone plan was more just like, hey, let's get more subscribers, let's make more money. So they just sold that part of the business off to Noble Mobile, to Andrew Yang, and now they're just solely focused on the Helium network, growing that out. Noble Mobile subscribers will be carrier offload participants now in the Helium network as well, which is huge. So that's another phone company that's under the belt, under Helium's belt there on the offload there. So hopefully we see some improvement. The HNT token is down like 12% today, along with everything
Mm-hmm.
else, unfortunately. But I think that overall this is going to be bullish for the health of the network. I do hope to see some improvement in the price at some point because it has made deploying extremely difficult. Like me as a deployer myself, I haven't deployed a hotspot in a month because it just hasn't made sense really to install in like lower value locations. The costs associated, the time and the costs associated, I won't be able to make any money at these locations. I have to get like the most pristine, amazing location that is really hard to get sometimes. So I
Mm-hmm.
just, yeah, I just basically am on the sidelines right now. Overall, I think that Helium is going to be benefited from this news here. So that's pretty much the only deep in takes I have at the moment. I mean, other than that, you have a bunch of real world asset and robotics plays that are still moving along nicely. Their tokens again have suffered thanks to all this freaking liquidation happening right now, but all in all, we're chugging along. So that's pretty much all the alpha I have for you on the deep end front. I did make a bag on the NASDAQ this morning, shorting the
Mm-hmm.
heck out of that. So that was a lot of fun. I wish you could show my charts because, man, it's just all red. It's crazy, dude. It just keeps just going down, 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 down. Everyone's like trying to buy the bottom, trying to buy the dip. Oh, dude, buy the dip. And it just like shuts them down completely. It's so funny. But yeah, that's my take today. I don't want to ramble on too much, but thank you, Lady Trader.
Oh, thank you so much today, William. I know you've had a busy day, but you were still able to join, so I appreciate that. Bits, we do have a few minutes, so I want to come back to you. I know you had a couple of other things that you wanted to talk about. Anything that you need to go over charts wise? Uh-oh. Where's Bits? Oh, there he is.
Bits,
He's
where are
still.
you?
Shoot, I was muted. Sorry, guys.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, look, the other thing I wanted to talk about is and I've been talking about these two charts, like Total 3 and others. I'm still
Mhm.
seeing that these they're getting a pullback. I actually talked about this probably a couple streams ago, that likely to get a pullback because they were taking out this previous 6-month high. You were just sweeping that. So I want to see what it
Mhm.
does here coming into these highs here on others BTC. You have previous quarter high, previous month high. If this can come back and kind of chop up here while preserving some of these lows, right? Not putting in a lower low, then I do think that this is probably just a healthy pullback and it's likely to continue. This is a good looking
Mhm.
chart to me on the high time frame. So for example, if we look at others BTC on a 6 month time frame, and it is six
Mhm.
months, which means that it could pull back for a week or two. Like these are high time frames. But when you look at this looks pretty good to me. This looks to me like it wants to go higher. But it could mean that you've got about 25 days left in this candle here in this 6 month candle, and then we open up the new one. It could mean that this is maybe cooling off a little bit for a week or two, and then it continues up higher. So we'll we'll see if this plays up, but that looks pretty good to me. The others BTC chart, which is just others. For those of you that don't know, others is it excludes the top 10 basically. So it's everything excluding the top 10 by market cap. So it's automatically excluding the big stable coins, Tether and USDC. Those are automatically excluded. It's excluding Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, BNB, whatever those top coins are. Those are excluded from here. And then a lot of people were actually saying, oh, this is going up because of Hyperliquid. No, that's actually not accurate. Hyperliquid is ranked like 7 or 8 now by market cap. So this does not include Hyperliquid either. So this is not going up because of Hyperliquid. This is going up because the poo coins, like the little shit coins, are going up. This is what's driving this liquidity here. So others BTC is still looking pretty good on the high time frames, but that doesn't mean that in the lower time frames it can't pull back. And so that's kind of what I'm waiting for here. Is I do think that we're getting a little bit of a correction here. And again, I think as long as it maintains these lows, as long as this is respected, I think this still has room to the upside, even if we got to chill
Mhm.
out for a little bit. When you look at others dominance, you'll see I drew a lot of squiggles on the last time I streamed this, but this is kind of coming. This is pretty much playing out according to plan. We were looking for a pump up here above the previous 6 month high on others dominance. We said it would pull back. We're kind of looking for it to do the same thing, right? Preserve the lows and then continue up. And the reason that we're looking at this one is similar to the other one. Like this looks pretty good on the high time frames. You had a
Mhm.
nice big low. This is moving up. If you look at this on the 6 month, this is looking pretty. This is looking pretty healthy. Still looks really really good. So I think this looks fine. It's
Mhm.
moving on up. I think we let this cook. We let it play out. Others dominance, others BTC looking pretty good. So look, I'm gonna be spending some time looking at some altcoins tonight. I think with Landy on a stream that I'm doing with Landy, and I'm gonna share this exact thing that I just shared now, which is others BTC, others dominance. And I'm curious to hear his take on it as well. But to me, these look pretty good. Again, there's 6 month charts, 3 month charts, so it's a lot of time frame there. It could take some time, but we are coming up to closes of these 6 month candles in about 25 days or so. So
Mhm.
yeah, look, altcoin market is kind of bleeding right now, but some of them are holding up decently. Some of them are doing okay. Some of them are still looking like they potentially have some upside. So I think if Bitcoin does cool off here, because we are wrapping up the TradFi week, right? We are going to close for the
Mhm.
weekend. We're going to go into low liquidity. I don't know. I mean, it's not that it's impossible, but I don't know that this just keeps melting over the weekend on lower liquidity. I don't know if that's the
Mhm.
case. I think it's more likely that this either consolidates here or gets a little bit of a bounce. And I think during a consolidation or even during a little bit of a weekend bounce on BTC, I think some of these alts are going to rip. So I think things like others against BTC have the potential that if they are pulling back here, that they find some kind of low and they try and go
Mhm.
higher again. So I'll be watching
Mhm.
that. I think alts if it does get a bounce, I think alts could get fun. So.
Yeah, no, that's gonna be interesting. Other chart is definitely looking interesting to me. Bits, do you have any more follow-up takes on QTC? We did uh, an analysis on it. I've talked about it quite a bit, but from technical perspective, I definitely wanted to get your take because it did exactly what you were kind of
Yeah,
talking
I think
about.
it's yeah, I think it's still probably cooling off a little bit more. Um,
Mm-hmm.
looks good. I mean, I had a nice little blow off top here. I did adjust the fibs to it after it put in the rest of that move. Um, look, I think if you if you want to run the fibs off of this low, you technically got the golden pocket bounce. If you run it off of the absolute lows, you got about a 50% bounce. Let's zoom out a little bit and see if anything interesting is on here. Yeah, 3-month doesn't give me much info. Yeah, I mean, I think with a candle like that, I'd be again, I still think it pays to probably be DCAing into this on dips here. But I'd still say like I can see some structure here, and then the fact that the volume profile is mainly concentrated down here, it does seem to make sense to me that maybe a pullback like somewhere in here could be coming. I don't think it's making a new low. I think the low's probably in.
Yeah,
For
that's what I
this,
was
but
thinking too.
yeah,
Yeah. Would love to see if we can get some at 45 cents or something like that would be
that'd be cool.
pretty incredible. So,
Yeah.
absolutely watching that. But yeah, thanks for your take there. I mean, everything, just don't be scared of the markets as far as
Right.
what the markets are doing right now. It's doing exactly what we were anticipating. And then also, it does create a lot of opportunity for us. So, definitely exciting times. Lots of great prices coming up very soon. Let's see how the weekend closes, how the weekly candle closes. So, we'll be watching for that. That's going to be closing on Sunday. I do see a few comments here as well. Bitcoin Gypsy, you've been such an incredible supporter all these years. Thank you for being such an awesome community member. Appreciate you and all the comments that you always leave for us. Kate is here. And we also have Carl here, host on crypto. Thank you all for tuning in today. Appreciate that. Any final thoughts or comments from you guys? Would love to
Um,
get that.
I guess like for me, it would be just be on the lookout, guys. I mean, obviously, I think we're going much lower. There's a lot of things indicating we're going much lower. Just I wouldn't be in the camp of buying the dip necessarily, because we don't know how much the dip can keep dipping. It's like when I dip, you dip, we dip, like that song. It just keeps going, guys. So just be on the lookout. I would just really reassess where you're at. If you're down really bad right now, on some investments. I'm down bad on some investments, but like my thesis still remains the same on them. And so I'm not selling them. I'm not selling some of these tokens I'm in because it's kind of just like, hey, eventually this thing will work out, I believe. So just double check your thesis, and make sure you're not in over your head and you're not over leveraged. If you are freaking out and you're emotionally down bad, you really need to double check where you're at, like leverage wise, and where you're at exposure wise, because maybe you're overexposed. So maybe it's time to take some, trim, take some losses, reassess where you're at, double check your theses, and just don't buy the dip because everyone's like, oh man, just buy red. It's the best strategy ever. Don't do that. So thank you so much, Lady Trader. Bits, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, thank you. Bits, any final thoughts or comments? Any takes on also Zcash? I know we had a big crash there today.
Yeah, look, I try and stay away from a lot of like the news-driven stuff. I prefer to play stuff that just has structure. The news stuff tends to a lot of times throw wrenches in short-term charts. But no, look, I'm sitting tight. I'm waiting for Bitcoin to give some kind of actual sustainable bounce, even if it is just short-term around here. And then I'm gonna probably be looking for some alts that have bled out pretty bad here this week to see if there's some short-term bounces there on some of those alts that maybe we can play and scalp. But other than that, yeah, I'm not looking to short Bitcoin at this level. I'm not really super interested in longing aggressively either. I'll happily scalp here. I do think if there is a bounce, maybe you see maybe you see a move back up into the mid to upper 60s. Could even go as high as 70. It's more unlikely, but I'm kind of thinking like a move to 65 or something like that could totally be in the cards, maybe even as high as 68. And like the whole psychology of that is how high does Bitcoin need to bounce so that the bulls start dunking on everyone and saying, see, I told you 60K would hold. You guys sold, blah, 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 blah. 4-year cycle's broken. The low is definitely in this time. And, so you know how that goes. But yeah, no, that's it. I did see something earlier though, which was super interesting, and I guess we'll call it out. Let me see if I can find it really quickly on X. But hold, give me one sec, guys. I'll try to find it. Okay, so you guys remember it wasn't that long ago um, that Arthur Hayes was talking about Zcash, and then he was talking about Hyperliquid. Now he's like talking about WorldCoin. So, but he's got a pattern. If you can't spot the pattern there with Arthur Hayes and these coins, if you can't spot the pattern and you're getting bullish on WorldCoin, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know that I can help you. You know.
Oh, you can't help some people.
Yeah, you can't help some people.
Love it.
But no, look, that's it. I think just be cautious. Don't FOMO. Have a plan. Don't don't do anything irresponsible right now. You're not gonna miss the bull run. Like people are so afraid of, I'm gonna go to bed and I'm gonna wake up and it's gonna be at 100,000. It's not. Okay, I promise you, it's not. Like
exactly.
you're not. Guys, chill. Maybe it pumps 5K or 10K, but even then, it's gonna pump 10K and then go back down 5K before it goes up. But like, just relax, guys. Relax. It's the weekend. Touch some grass. This is not a race. You don't need to be first. You're not gonna get a trophy for being first. First one to buy the dip, you get a gold star for you. You know what I mean? It's not going to happen, guys. There's zero value in that. Just wait. Buy confirmation. Get on the side of the trend. Yeah.
Absolutely. Love that take, Bits. Appreciate that. I'll leave you with one thing, all of you who are tuning in today. The small caps, especially, because this is where the pressure is going to be mounting, right? As Bitcoin continues to crash, as Solana crashes, as Ethereum continues to crash, there's going to be pressure on a lot of teams who maybe they don't know what they're doing. They're panicking. They're wanting you to buy so they can have some momentum, right? But any small cap right now that's not on major exchanges, just be cautious with them because they are mostly paired with either Ethereum, their liquidity is paired with Ethereum or Solana. And both Ethereum and Solana, at least from here, I can see them a 50% crash, which means that it's going to be half of what we are at right now. So that's at least, that's like me being conservative. So that means if there is a project that you're looking at that's sitting at, 2 mil, it's probably going to go to 1 mil market cap or lower. That is just considering the liquidity, not even considering the actual sell-off that's going to happen as a result of the markets, because there's going to be investors selling as well. So be mindful because it's not going to be pretty, right? So don't become exit liquidity. Be cautious. Right now is the time to preserve the liquidity. If you're shorting, if you're part of the community and you've shorted, when we were shorting, you're good to go. You already knew what you were doing. But now be cautious, preserve your liquidity. No need to hurry. That's basically what I do personally, right? Just waiting for the markets to bottom out and then position myself. So we are not going to miss the bottom. Like Bit said, it takes a while for the bottom to build. It's not going to be just a quick shot that it's going to go to 30K and then boom, 100K the next day. That's not going to be the case. So just be mindful of that. And let's see where we are at, in October. I will have some video snippets going out pretty soon as Bitcoin starts to hit some of the price targets that I wanted to hit. And so you're going to see some good videos coming out. A reminder that we've been very consistent with what we've been talking about all these months, since the beginning of the top being in place. And so thank you for all your support and thank you for tuning in. Make sure that you're following Bits of Wealth. Make sure that you're following William and also Nat, who was here earlier today. And we will be back again with another FOMO Friday next week. Thank you and have a wonderful rest of the week and weekend. Thank you, Bits, and thank you, William, for co-hosting as well.
Thank you,
Thanks for
lady.
the invite.